Hello, we're in the back of a 1964 VW bus, and a friend of mine asked about the sizes of my Westy bed. So we're going to take some measurements of it and get some sizes, and I'll show you a little bit of the tricks to do. So the width of the bed itself is 53.5 inches wide, and this one's also 53.5 inches wide. And then the board that goes in the front, it is roughly 62.5 inches long. The height of the board in the front is 13.5 inches. Okay, so underneath is you have the two angle supports that support it whenever it's sitting, when you open up the bed to lay it flat. And it's sitting on a piece of aluminum metal plate that you can buy at Home Depot or Lowe's for 3/4 inch wood. And then I put a piece of 1.5 by 1.5 angle iron to help support the wood. And I put two handles underneath here. And the width, all right, let me pull the bed out. Now we have the bed flat, and you can see how these things come down and hit down here, and it supports the front of the bed. So then these lengths, that's 17.5 inches for the backrest, and you'll find whenever you're putting your hinges in, there's an edge back here, and then the center of the hinge itself up here. And then this will be already defined as in about 17.5 inches. Then this one here, I have it at 21 inches deep. And what I did is, you imagine your cushion's gonna go all the way back to the back. And you put your bed, our bed is about 6 feet long, which is 72 inches from the back door to the cargo door to right here. So if you're taller, you can make this board longer. I have it at 21 inches, but you can also make it longer if you want for it to be taller. If you want it to be, if you're wanted to have a 6.5 foot bed, if you're taller or shorter or whatever. But I have it at 21 inches right now, which makes 6 foot to the back cargo door. And like I said, for the width before is about 53.5. So what you want to do is, when you put your hinges in from this side and this side, we'll go look all around to the cargo door. Okay, so this is where the hinge comes up and it hooks into the cargo area in the back. So this distance from here over to the edge needs to be at least 2.5 inches, which I have it at 2.5 inches. And the reason why is that your bed here has to be able to clear the curve of the body that comes up like this. So this side, which would be your left-hand side, cannot be right up against here. It has to be in about 2.5 inches or maybe 3 inches if you're worried about that. So if you come over to this side on split window buses like this one, it has the fuel filler right here. So you have to move this hinge in over to here to clear this over here. But if you have a bay window bus, you won't have this, and you'll be able to slide this out further. Again, you need to be 2.5 inches from the wall so you don't hit the curve of the bus itself. So I have it just distance here. Let me measure. About 5.5 inches from the wall is where I have it. So if we look down now underneath the bed itself, there's a board that comes over. It has the shape of your wheel well here. It goes over and it meets up with this board. It goes down to the floor. Now on the floor, you have this piece of wood here, which is exactly the same as all the rest. I use 3/4 inch wood. I put it down here and I cut out the spots for where the heater comes down through in the body, and use the bolts that actually hold in the back seat. You should have bolts down in through here or something down here to hold the rear seat and the stock rear seat, or like a regular seat, but I just reuse the same bolt holes for that. So that holds into there. And then again on this side, the same shape as that's on this side. So let's measure this. Let's see. It's 11.5 inches high, and it's just a little bit shorter than this. It doesn't have to be as tall as your front board here. So then from there back, let's take a measurement from here to here. We're about 14.5 inches. And then you can see here where the hinge bolts to the wood, it goes inside here, and I actually had to carve the wood a little bit back to get it down into the bracket. And then this bolts to your wheel well. There's a plate on the other side with 2 studs coming out of it, but you can just use bolts and large washers or make a plate to bolt it to there, to your wheel well here. So then over here, same thing over there. So this panel that goes onto the floor, the one I put on the floor, I just kind of laid it on there and didn't really get exact measurements, but it would be roughly about 54 inches long. And since the bed takes up a lot of space, or actually a lot of space, I mean, over here with this, so what I did is I just built a little cubby box here. I just put a hinge right onto the end there, and I have it going into the wheel well. And so then I keep like things like bug spray and stuff like that, or oil. I keep oil in there as well. Just a little cubby space, just so it has a spot so it's not open right there. And plus, I usually put my cell phone there overnight so it can sit there. And then while it's charging, I have a little charge thing here with a USB port, cigarette lighter, and a switch to turn it on and off. And then I have a little battery over here. It's from like a Power Wheels, or one of those 12-volt batteries from a Power Wheels or something like that. So I just have it there with a switch coming over, and it feeds it over to there. And I usually put like a battery charger on there, a trickle charger, maybe a week before I go on a camping trip or something, just so we have it for extra power. I really don't need it because I have a port in the truck, in the van itself, bus, to charge things. So I don't really use it that much. So I got the floor jack there. Here's the heater duct as well. I cut a hole for a heater. Comes right from the heater box. So the purists don't look at this because I actually put a hole in my bus for that. To put all your boards together from here, like to this board and everything, Volkswagen never screwed them together. What they used was carriage bolts and a piece of an angle bracket with 2 carriage bolts here or whatever. I think I used 1/4-inch bolts. I'm pretty sure I think that's the size I used. So use those to put all these together here and here. This was actually an extra brace I put in on the other side. And so Volkswagen used those so you had some nice buttons here shown on the outside instead of seeing screw heads or anything. And another thing, if you could find it, or you can make it yourself, but there's this little bracket here, just goes on with a bolt and then a little support here, and this kind of, when you prop this up, it'll lock and hold itself right into there onto that bolt, so your bed stays up while you're in there digging around or throwing stuff in there for camping. Also, one other thing is these brackets here, I think I put them in too close to the edge, from the edge of the bed over to here. So I would suggest moving these ones a little bit further out, so it's closer to where the edge of this is, like maybe about here, because right now we're sitting about right here. So I would move them out here. I plan on moving these out because if they're in too close, it actually makes this flex inward this way when you sit on the edge of the bed. So I noticed it on another guy's Westy bed that these hinges actually sit further out than where I put them right here. So also another thing is when you go to put these on, fold your bed flat and kind of lay these on here where you want them to be. And then I just took this and I kind of marked it with a marker where it lines up where this piece here lines right up onto here or whatever to support it. So whenever you put the bed out, let me put the bed out. So you can see how this little notch sits on top of this piece of metal. And this should be moved out further out here, not so close to there. And then the wood itself will be supported by the angle bracket. So this should be moved further out. Same with the other side, move that side out. And with the sizes and dimensions I gave you, you can see it's sun faded with the canvas. So you may want to do a nice UV protected cover on yours. But a full size sheet will fit on this perfectly, the sizes that it is. It'll fit around here, fit around, you have a full size sheet going the whole way back to the back and everything. Well, I hope you enjoyed the little film about the Westy bed. If you have any questions or comments or wondering about different sizes, maybe I missed something, just let me know down in the comments and I'll get back to you. But thank you for liking, subscribing, and following the channel. You guys are great. You guys are awesome. Stay awesome. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.